Good morning. I am Dr. B. Krishna Reddy, Principal of Samala Krishna Agricultural Polytechnic College, Tangellavaripalli, Tamballapalli Mandal, Chittoor District. Today we are going to discuss about second lecture for Diploma in Agriculture Engineering students in Engineering Chemistry subject. This second lecture deals with chemical bonds of various types and their properties. Mainly, these bonds are covalent bonds, coordinate bonds, etc. So now let us go into the subject. Electronic theory of valency. The salient features of electronic theory of valency are: number one, the valency of an element depends upon the number of electrons in the outermost orbit, and these are called valency electrons. The remainder of the atom, excluding the valency electrons, it is called the kernel of the atom. See, if you see a rough diagram of an atom, how it looks like. For example, here I have taken sodium atom, where the atomic structure will be 8, 2 plus 8, 2 plus 8 plus 1. That is, actually here it is missing. 2 plus 8 plus 1 should be there, which means this configuration, electron configuration, indicates that in the atom, sodium atom, there are 3 orbits. These are called energy levels also. In the lowermost orbit, there are 2 electrons. In the second orbit, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 electrons. In the outermost orbit, there is 1 electron. Okay. So the valency of an element depends upon how many number of electrons present in the outermost orbit. In this given example of sodium atom, the valency of this sodium is 1. That means in the outermost orbit of sodium, there is only 1 electron. This is called as valency electrons. So the electrons present in the outermost orbit are called valence electrons, and the valency of this sodium is denoted as 1, because in the valency orbit or in the outermost orbit, there is only 1 electron. Excluding this valency orbit, the remainder of the atom, that is excluding the valency electrons, it is called as kernel of the atom. What it's called? It is kernel of the atom. Kindly remember, this word is important for the examination point of view. Right. Then atoms of elements with 8 electrons in their valency orbit are stable. Whenever any atom of an element contains 8 number of electrons in its valency orbit or the outermost orbit, then the substance will be stable. Not necessarily 8. In case of some atoms of an element, there can be 2 also, either 2 or 8, or in pairs. If the electrons are present in the valency orbit, then the element will generally be in a stable state. Number 3, the atoms of other elements do not have a stable or inert gas electronic configuration. the atoms of other elements other than this configuration, they will not be stable, or they will not be in a inert gas electronic configuration. They have a tendency to take part in the chemical combination. That means when they are not stable, they are prone to participate in the chemical reactions, so that they may also acquire stable inert gas configuration. The purpose why these unstable substances elements will react is ultimately to become stable. This may be either by transfer, how these reactions will takes place, and how these unstable atoms of an elements get stabilized is either by transference, that is transfer of electrons. Either it can be a gain or a loss, that is the electrons may get transferred from an atom of one element to the atom of another element. It can be a gain or loss. For the atom of an element which receives the electrons, it is a gain, and for the atom of an element which transfers the electrons, it is a loss. So this type of gain or loss of one or more electrons from atom of one element to the atom of another element. Okay, this is one way of unstable elements get stabilized by transference of the electrons. And there is another way also, that is by sharing the electrons between the atoms. So instead of transferring, there is something like sharing. So between these two atoms of two different elements, if the electrons get shared, then it is called sharing. That way also chemical reactions will happen, and the unstable atoms of an element become stable. According to their mode of formation, bonds may be classified. Actually, when these chemical reactions are happening, these results in the formation of various types of bonds between the atoms. What are the types of these bonds? One is ionic bond, two covalent bond, three coordinate bond, and four metallic bond. In addition to these four varieties of bonds that are formed while two atoms of an element or more combined to form a new and stable substance. There are other attractive interactions also. They are known as hydrogen bond and van der Waals interactions. These are little weak compared to the previously mentioned bonds. Then ionic or electrovalent bond. So now let us see in detail these varied types of bonds. First one is ionic bond. This is also, in other words, known as electrovalent bond. An ionic bond is formed by complete transfer of one or more electrons from outermost energy cell called valency cell of one atom to the outermost energy shell of another dissimilar atom, so that both acquire stable inert gas configuration. So the ionic bond, or it is also known as electrovalent bond. This bond is for by complete transfer of one or more electrons from the valency orbit of one atom to the valency orbit of the another atom of a dissimilar atoms, that is another atom of a different element, so that both acquire stable gas configuration or stable electronic configuration. In this process of forming ionic bond, what happens is one or more than one electrons from the atom of an element get transferred to the valence orbit of another atom belongs to the different element. Likewise, this type of bond is called ionic or electrovalent bond. The atoms which loses the electron becomes positive ion. So when this happens, that is when the electrons from one atom get transferred into the other atom, then the atom which loses the electrons will become positive, while the electrons are negatively charged particles. So by losing electrons, this particular atom becomes ion, that is cation, that is a positively charged ion, while the other atom which gains the electrons becomes negative, that is anion. So when the electrons are received by another atom, the receiving atom becomes negatively charged, so it becomes an anion. These two oppositely charged ions combine due to electrostatic forces of attraction. Actually, when these atoms become ionic, that is, one has become cation, another become anion. Because of these oppositely charged ions, they will have a electrostatic attractive forces between them. So, because of these force, they come together and form an electrovalent or ionic compound. So, because of this attraction, they come together and formed into ionic compound, or otherwise also known as electrovalent compound. The bond is called electrovalent bond or ionic bond, and the compounds that are produced at the end after the reaction, after the transfer of these electrons, they are known as the electrovalent compounds or ionic compound. It may be pointed out here that the electrostatic attraction always tend to decrease the potential energy. So the potential energy of these compounds will get reduced after because of the electrostatic attraction. Now let us see with examples the ionic bond formation. How the ionic bonds are being formed, we will see with the examples. Number one, formation of sodium chloride. When sodium atom, the sodium atom atomic number is 11. Electronic configuration is 281, which means in the sodium atom, in the lower orbit, there will be 2 electrons. In the next orbit, there will be 8 electrons. And in the outermost one, 1 electron. You can see this is the sodium atom. In the lowermost orbit, actually this is the nucleus, which is a seat for protons, positively charged particles, and this is also a seat for neutrons, which is neutral in the charge. So this is the nucleus, and this nucleus contains protons and neutrons. Next to the nucleus is the orbit, innermost orbit. In the sodium atom, the innermost orbit contains 2 electrons. The next orbit contains 2 to 8 electrons. The outermost orbit, also known as valency orbit, will have 1 electron. This is how sodium atoms electronic configuration looks like, right? Then you take a chlorine atom. This is the chlorine atom and its electronic configuration. This chlorine atom has atomic number of 17. That means there will be 17 protons, 17 neutrons, and 17 number of electrons also. So if you see the electronic configuration, it is 2, 8, and 7, which means in the innermost orbit of the chlorine, there are 2 electrons. In the second, next, there will be 8 electrons, 2, 2, 2, 2. In the outermost orbit, which is also known as valence orbit, there are 2, 2 plus 2, and 1. That is 6 plus 1, 7. This is what it indicates. 2, 8, and 7. When these atoms with this type of electronic configuration approach each other, an electron is transferred from the sodium to the chlorine atom. Here, this electron, this is also known as valence electron of sodium, get transferred into the valency orbit of the chlorine, right? Then, as a result of it, what what happens is the sodium becomes sodium ion. Why? By losing the one electron, it becomes an ion, that is positive ion, that is cation, Na plus. Na plus means it has lost one electron and become ion. And chlorine ion, which receives an electron, become negatively charged ion, that is anion, that is chlorine minus. These ions are held together by forces of electrostatic attraction between them. Once these two sodium and chlorine ions become Na plus and Cl minus, between these two there will be electrostatic forces which brings them very close to each other and then forms the sodium chloride, the end substance or the ionic compound NaCl. Okay, the number of electrons lost or gained by an atom to acquire a stable inert gas configuration is called electrovalency of the atom. So we already discussed what is the electrovalency of sodium. It is 1. Why? One electron is got transferred into the outermost orbit of the chlorine. Thus, electrovalency of sodium is plus 1, while that of a chlorine is denoted as minus 1. That means from sodium, one electron got transferred into the chlorine atom. So the electron valence of the sodium is denoted as plus 1, while that of the chlorine is denoted as minus 1. The electropositive elements possess positive electrovalency, while the electronegative elements possess the negative electrovalency. Okay. Then let us see the second example of formation of another ionic compound, that is calcium oxide. Calcium atom, the atomic number is 20. The electronic configuration will be 2, 8, 8, and 2. This calcium atom loses 2 valency electrons to form calcium ion, that is Ca2 plus. To acquire electronic configuration of argon, that is 2, 8, 8. That means these 2 electrons will get transferred. So it becomes 2, 8, 8. This is similar to that of argon electronic configuration. Similarly, oxygen atom, which is having atomic number of 8, will have a configuration of electrons as 6 and 2, gains 2 electrons to acquire neon configuration. So 2, 8. Actually, the atomic number is 8. Then innermost should 2 should come here and 6 should go next. Why? Because the innermost of oxygen will have 2, the outermost will have 6. I think this is a small mistake here. So by getting 2 electrons from the calcium, in the outermost orbit of the oxygen there will be now 8 electrons. That means 2, 8. This is nothing but similar to that of a neon configuration. This forming oxide ion. So this will result in the formation of oxide ion O2 minus. The two oppositely charged ions combine to form CaO molecule, that is calcium oxide molecule. Now see the diagrammatic representation of this reaction also. Now, as I already explained, this is a calcium atomic structure which has 2 plus 8 plus 8 plus 2, right? That is 20. Atomic number is 20. So as per this, there will be 2 electrons inside the lowermost orbit, then 8 in the next orbit, again 8. In the last orbit, there are 2 more electrons in the valence orbit of the calcium. This is calcium atom configuration of electronic configuration. So which this atomic number 20 means protons also there will be 20, neutrons also 20, both are present in the nucleus, and the number of electrons also 20, and we have seen how they are being arranged in the orbits. In the valence orbit, we got 2 electrons in the calcium atom. Now see the oxygen. This is a rough diagrammatic representation of the oxygen atom, which means the atomic number is 8. That means there will be 8 number of protons, 8 number of neutrons in the nucleus. In the next orbit, that is innermost orbit, next to the nucleus, it will have 2 electrons. In the outermost orbit, which is also known as valence orbit, there will be 6 electrons. Okay. Once the reaction takes place between the calcium and oxygen, what exactly happens is these 2 valency electrons of calcium present in the valency orbit or the outermost orbit will get transferred to the outermost orbit of the oxygen. So outermost orbit has got 6. Now by adding this transfer, so we'll see the arrow mark is like this. This indicates like this transfer of electron. This also, these 2 electrons will get transferred to outermost orbit of the oxygen. So then what becomes, this 6 will become 8. So this 8, 2 and 8, this configuration is nothing but a neon configuration. Okay. Then because of this, what results is calcium ion atom becomes Ca2 plus, because it lost 2 electrons. It acquires a ionic form. Then oxygen, after obtaining 2 electrons from calcium atom, becomes negatively charged ion, that is O minus 2. Since these are oppositely charged ions, there is an electrostatic force that exists between these ions, and they come very closer and become calcium oxide, which is a ionic compound or electrostatic compound. I think with these two examples, we are very clear about the ionic bond or electrovalent bond. These are, and the substances formed called ionic compounds are electrovalent compounds. Now, after this, let us see what are the properties of these ionic compounds or electrovalent compounds. These have a specific properties. Now let us understand what is these properties. Number one, they are non-directional and cannot exhibit isomerism. These, say for example, calcium oxide or this sodium chloride. These are the ionic compounds. These will have the nearly 8 properties which are indicated here. Number one, they are non-electrical and cannot exhibit isomerism. First, let us see what is isomerism. If a compound has two or more compounds have the same chemical formula, but if they exhibit different properties, then it is called as isomers. So, this type of isomerism will not be exhibited by the ionic compounds. Okay, and at the same time, they are non-directional. What it means is the attraction between these oppositely charged ions is from any direction. There will not be any specific direction. This is property number one. That means these compounds are non-directional and they cannot exhibit the isomerism. Let us see the second property. They are non-conductor in solid state. When they are in the solid form, these substances or these ionic compounds are non-conductors. That means they will not conduct electricity. They are conductor of electricity in molten state and in dissolved form in water. However, when these are boiled and if it is in a molten state or if it is dissolved in water, then they will start conducting the electricity. Next comes fourth character or fourth property. They are soluble in polar solvents. For example, water is a polar solvent. That means they are soluble in the polar solvents but insoluble in the non-polar solvents. For example, benzene, carbon tetrachloride, CCl4. Okay, they possess high melting point and high boiling point. Number 6, they give ionic reactions. That means they form into ions, then they will give ionic reactions. Number 7, in solid state, they are surrounded by a definite number of oppositely charged ions. That means when these substances are in solid form, they are surrounded by the number of oppositely charged ions. Number 8, their binding energy is very high. So the binding energy of the ionic compounds or electrovalent compounds is very high. Okay, so the student should remember all these properties even from the examination point of view also. Then comes the second type of bond, that is covalent bond. Covalent bond is formed by sharing of electrons in pairs between two atoms, both of which make equal contribution of electrons. So, covalent bonds are formed by sharing of electrons. In the previous one, Ionic bond, what we told is transfer of electrons. So transfer means from one atom it goes to the other atom. Whereas in the sharing, both atoms contribute the electrons and they will share. So kindly remember this difference. Covalent bond is formed by sharing of electrons, that too in pairs, not alone, in pairs between two atoms, both of which make equal contribution of it. That to these sharing atoms will contribute electrons in equal numbers when each atom contribute one. For example, if one atom contributes one electron, another atom of another element contributes another electron, then they become two. If one electron two, another atom also contributes two, then both combinedly become four. Likewise, if each atom of an element contributes 3 electrons each, then the combinedly shared electrons becomes 6 in number. The union so set up is called as single, double, triple covalent linkages or covalent bonds. That means there is a bond between each electron of a different elements. So one element atom of an element contributes one, another atom of another element contributes one electron, then it becomes a single bond. It is single covalent bond. If both atoms of different elements contribute two each, then there will be double covalent bond. Likewise, when three electrons are contributed from both the atoms of different elements, then that triple covalent bond will come into existence. Okay. For example, this how the covalent bond will form, we will see. Example is water. In the water, there exists a covalent bond as a result of sharing of the electrons between the atoms of different elements. For example, you take this is a rough sketch of hydrogen atom. In the hydrogen atom, just for information, there is a nucleus which contains only proton. There will not be any neutron in the hydrogen atom. Okay, there is one proton and there is one electron in the outermost orbit. That is, there is only one orbit. This is one hydrogen atom with one electron present in the outermost or the only orbit. Likewise, this is also another hydrogen atom. Then there is an oxygen. We know what is the oxygen configuration. Its atomic number is 8, which means there is 8 number of protons, 8 number of neutrons, and 8 number of electrons arranged in two orbits. That is, in the lowermost orbit there are 2 electrons. In the outermost orbit there are 6, 2, 2 and 3. Like this it will be there. So once this is how it will happen. Here we are showing this electron, two directions, two arrows. That is, electron from hydrogen is shared with the electron of an oxygen. Like this, another hydrogen atom shares its electron with this thing. Kindly this you ignore it. This is not there. Actually, 2 plus 2. Here another 2. 6 will be there in the outermost orbit. Once this interaction takes place, because of the mutual sharing, now you can see here this hydrogen atom here in the this is bigger size I am putting. This is a combined electron of hydrogen and the oxygen. This also kindly ignore. There is no electrons. Here 2 electrons are there. Here 2 electrons are there. Here 1 electron of hydrogen another electron of oxygen. Here another electron of oxygen, hydrogen, and this is another electron of oxygen. These two combined. So that means now by sharing what happened, this has become 2, 2, this also 2, 4, 6, 8. This form octane form. This means oxygen has become an octane form, and these two electrons in the innermost orbitals are not our concern. This is how the covalent bond is formed. Now covalent is formed between the two atoms of hydrogen and one atom of oxygen, resulting in the formation of water molecule. Now let us see the properties of covalent compounds. As we have seen the properties of ionic compounds, now we will see the properties of the covalent compounds. They are directional in nature. You can see most of these properties are opposite to the properties that has been exhibited by the ionic compounds. They are non-directional. Here it is directional in nature. Number 2, the melting point and boiling point are low. They are non-conductors of electricity in fused or well-dissolved state. They are soluble in organic solvents, but generally insoluble in water. They are non-polar in nature. They may exhibit isomerism. Their reactions are non-ionic in nature and involve molecules rather than ions. Here, they are results of the involvement of molecules rather than the ions. So in the previous example also, nowhere the ions are formed here. So both hydrogen molecules and oxygen molecule, they are participating in the reaction without becoming ions. Okay. So these are the various properties of covalent compounds. Okay. Is it clear? Now let us see the third type of bond, that is coordinated or dative bond. So this we will continue in the next class. Thank you.